Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. I'm a futurist, and this is my journal, where I talk about anything and everything under the sun. So I just want to say warm welcome. If this is your first time, if this is not your first time, welcome back. And you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the like button. Go check out my past video. And enjoy. Oh, go ahead and share it too while you're at it. Yeah, just while you're at it. So today, with all the talk of the impeachment trials and all that nonsense, I want to talk about something that's a little bit less mainstream, but equally, I think even more so of an importance to me personally. If you don't really know me, which most of you don't, which is understandable. Those who know me personally know that I'm a huge comic book nerd. I love comic books. I love graphic novels. I love writing. I love stories. Favorite characters. I mean, I love Marvel and DC, to be honest here. I have my favorites and different dynamics and relationships and all that, and whatnot, and all that stuff. I love it. I absolutely love it. So that's why this story is of a particular interest to me in general. So it seems that the Punisher is in the crosshairs of the social justice warriors, as if they didn't have enough to focus on by themselves, which I personally don't think they do, because it seems that they keep talking about and recycling the same topics. Anywho, what I'm talking about specifically is that the Punisher. So during the Capitol riot, it was one of the insurgents. They were wearing a Punisher symbol, and the Punisher's symbol, you've seen it. Everyone has seen it at this point, for the most part. It is a skull, elongated skull that the Punisher wears on either a T-shirt, vest, or no, he doesn't really wear it in a jacket. He originally wore it on like this kind of jumpsuit, very 80s. Looking, very much so. Or was it 70s, 80s, whatever, somewhere in that range. And with that being said, people have taken that symbol and put it on everything. I have friends that put it on their firearms. I have friends who like to wear it on on their like T-shirts. And I also have, if you go look at the American Sniper, their team had that symbol. So it does not mean death or anything crazy like that you're hearing around. That you hear on the internet or around Twitter. So let me just take this time to explain to you what the Punisher is, who he is, and what he represents, and then I'll further get onto the article and the story. So really quickly, the Punisher. I am not an expert, so I'm not going to. Wow, cannot talk today. I'm not going to claim to be an expert of the Punisher. I am a recent fan. The Netflix series really made me realize how awesome the character truly is, and what he represents, and why I like him so much. And eventually, I would love to, once I get time. I'm in law school right now. I really don't have a lot of time, period. So I want to first become more consistent on YouTube, but then eventually, I would love to write a video essay. And produce a video essay talking about the first season of The Punisher, because it encapsulates so many issues and problems in our society. It is extremely important. Extremely important. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let me get to it. So, The Punisher, Frank Castle, or Pete Castiglione? It depends on the version. I'm going off the Netflix version. I'm not going to give anything away, so if you haven't seen it, don't freak out, but go see it. Go check it out. But he was an ex-Marine, and when he returned from duty, his family was murdered in front of him, his wife and his 2 kids. Tragic. Very, 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 very tragic. But he is an anti-hero, however you want to say it. And what that means is that he's not a traditional hero. He's not your traditional Spider-Man or even Batman. Batman is not an anti-hero. He is a hero. Which means that he basically has... his morality is not as set in stone as your classic heroes. He was introduced in Daredevil Season 2, and they clashed because of the no-kill rule. So I kind of just gave it away. But the Punisher, Frank Castle, is not adverse to killing. Actually, he kills a lot. He drops a lot of bodies. But that's not, everyone wants to focus on that. That's actually not the focus here. And people take that negatively, dropping bodies. Like, now he goes after criminals and criminals only, and he attacks them, and he, instead of locking them up, he takes them out. Why? Because he is distrustful of the justice system, which we can all kind of agree upon. He is essentially a cliche, not a cliche, excuse me. He is a critique. And that's the largest reason why I love him. He is a critique. He's a critique and an outlaw. He's a critique of the justice system. So that's why there was a big issue not too long ago. I believe it was mid 2020, around June or July, where a police force actually sported his symbol and placed it on their vehicles. Which I'm not here to discuss that today, but that is a major issue, that they should not be supporting an outlaw. That's the problem. But I found an article, and it was all over Twitter. I found an article that was talking about specifically, and I'm about to jump into that right now. And I want to get the actor of the Netflix series. I want to get his. I want to explain to you his response as well, because I think it's very, very interesting. So with this article, I'm going to go ahead and pull that up on my screen right now. But I'm not going to read the whole thing to it. It's linked below if you want to go give it a read. It's an interesting read, but it's by Sci-Fi Wire. It's an opinion piece. It states that it's time for Marvel to retire the Punisher's skull logo. And in this, it was discussing the issue at the Capitol, which, of course, I'm not condoning in any way, shape, or form. I already kind of discussed what was going on at the Capitol in general in my last video. Yes, it's kind of long, but I did explain what was kind of going on here and how everything isn't as it seems. But even still, there were insurrectionists there, and I think that all insurrectionists, should be punished according to the law. Even though, a little sidetracked here, even though some Antifa left-wingers have been released, I think that's kind of interesting in general. And of course, I'm telling you, I'm a patriot. I'm neutral. One way or the other, violence, I do not condone violence, okay? So, this man, you can see the skull logo on his chest. And they're saying that, the Punisher is like the mascot of this extremist group, of these extremist groups and extremists in general. And that, he's a killer. And, he has homicidal tendencies, and that it's, I love this one. And his gunplay has been celebrated by those who subscribe to a more toxic definition of vigilante justice. An interesting line here says that there are certainly valid arguments to be had over the value of a character like Frank Castle in this day and age, when gun violence is obviously such a huge problem in America. So the author's suggestion here is to give the Punisher a makeover. Get an artist with a flair for costume design to do a complete visual redo that eliminates the skull. Hire a writer to find a story hook to explain why the change in visual aesthetics. You'll catch heat for creating a woke Frank Castle, no doubt. But who cares? If the story is a good one, people will buy the book. Ultimately, it's a cosmetic change that shouldn't have any type of damaging impact on Frank Castle as a character. More importantly, it lets Marvel put valuable distance between its character and the various groups who have adopted the controversial logo in such problematic fashion. I take offense to that paragraph. I do. First off, it pains me and it annoys me how everyone seems to think that we all care to hear about politics and society and this, that, and the other constantly. Now, yes, these characters do interact in our supposed society, so naturally they would have societal issues. They would take on societal issues. I understand that. I get that, and the best stories actually do so. But they're so focused, and as society, we're so focused on being woke Frank Castle, that you're missing the point of the character. It said that it's purely a cosmetic change, but as a comic book fan, as a graphic novel fan, as a superhero, vigilante fan, cosmetics, they're everything. Creators caught heat for changing Spider-Man's costume. His costume. it's iconic. Characters such as Wonder Woman, they had a redesigning of her costume, of her uniform, for iconic uniform, and they received backlash. It's because they're not staying true to the character. Cosmetics, they're everything. So once you do that, you change the character. But you can say, oh, but the gun violence. It's a comic book character. Trust me, if someone wants to be violent, guess what? They'll be violent. I mean, I'm not seeing the issue. I don't see how that's going to change anything. Okay? So it actually won't change anything. It'll appease people who are focused on the wrong thing. Instead of focusing on what Frank Castle represents, which is a failing of the justice system, which is what his character exemplifies, that's his main plot. There's actually even a clip. Like I said, I don't read very many Punisher comic books, but I did read one. I forgot which one, and I forgot who was the author. It was really good though, like extremely good. But he even had an interaction with police officers who were like, hey, you know what? We love what you're doing here. And he was like, no, you shouldn't love what I'm doing here. You know, I'm a criminal. I'm here because you aren't doing your job right. This, that, and the other. I am probably botching it up, but you get the idea. He is an outlaw. He's outside of the system. Yes, he is critiquing the system and its failings. And especially in the Marvel series, in the first season especially. The second season, I don't really like it as much. But the first season especially, you see the failings of the justice system. You see the failings of our organizations as a whole. FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, all that kind of stuff. And which is accurate to what's happening now. With Spygate and our mass surveillance that is taking place. Very Big Brother is very 1984. So this is just from someone who does not understand the character, who is so concerned about. All I'm trying to say is that you seriously have nothing else to do, nothing better to focus on than a comic book character. Okay, for instance, let me give you an example. So a lot of the insurrectionists were carrying flags, the American flag. So are we going to hire an artist to redesign a flag and change the American flag? No, we're not going to do that. That's stupid. That is absolutely stupid. Okay? So let's say, for instance, I was there. I happen to wear a shirt, that's designed like a cow, right? And I'm there. I am being rebellious. I'm going crazy. Let's say I'm, I don't know. You can put me in either group. I don't really care. Are you going to now ban anyone from drinking milk, from having a hamburger, a cheeseburger? Yes, I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but you get the point here. It's a comic book character. That's not what he represents. If someone wants to do that, they're going to do that. If someone wants to wear a hat with a picture of Barack Obama, are you going to say, take him off the internet, shame him, cancel him? No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Dude, find something better to do. Let's continue reading this a little bit. The last paragraph says, the Punisher has always been a polarizing figure. Frank Castle is a merciless killer with enough fictional notches on his belt to impress Thanos. In the real world, that skull he wears on his chest has become a twisted symbol of violence and retribution that is infinitely more frightening. And it is something Marvel can't wait to address any longer. So we live in a society where we like to bully people to conform to how we see the world. That's essentially what we're seeing here. And they like to force people. No, does Marvel have to do anything? No, they don't. Okay? They don't have to do squat. I don't think they should do anything. The creator of The Punisher came out and spoke against the police force, sporting the logo. He came out and did. I think that's appropriate. He should have done that. Absolutely. But besides that, they don't know. They don't owe you anything. What someone does is what someone does. It's not illegal. All right. So a lot of them were wearing Nike T-shirts. Is it Nike's fault? No. Are you going to ban Nike? No. And you would say, but you know, they the Punisher, he kills people. It's so different from Nike. So different. Look, if you want to use that argument, you could. That's completely you're right. All I'm saying is that's a little too much. And let's look at a response on Twitter. So John Bernthal is the actor of the Netflix series, which I certainly hope they bring back to Marvel. But that's a whole different topic because I think they're going to botch it, just like they botched the Spider-Man series. But, you know, don't at me. But he came back on Twitter. So KZ the writer wrote, "I'm a hashtag Punisher fan. No matter how many nut jobs steal his logo, I'll still be a Punisher fan. They don't understand what it truly symbolizes. If they did, they wouldn't wear it. And I'm not going to let them take it from me. Hashtag the Punisher logo. Hashtag the Punisher at Marvel at Johnny Bernthal." And John Bernthal responded, "I'm with you. Beautiful work. These people are misguided, lost, and afraid. They have nothing to do with what Frank stands for or is about. Big love, Jay." So instead of sitting there and making these snap judgments about this character based on your own perception, go study the character to see what they actually mean, what he actually stands for, and what he means, and what he represents. Go ahead and do that first, and then go ahead and write an article. And at that point, I'll be ready to listen. At that point, I'll be ready to read, because you are speaking from a place of ignorance, and it shows. Do not mess with one of my favorite characters unless you have the facts, and you don't. You don't know anything about this character, and that frustrates me. So please do your homework. That's it for the video. Before I let you go, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share. Follow me on my social media at The Futurist Journal for my Facebook page, for my Instagram page, and Futurist Journal for my Twitter, where I'll retweet the tweet and put all the details, and I tweet out things occasionally. And as I progress in this and become more consistent, I'll be doing more. I'll be interact a little bit more. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for paying attention. Thank you so much for watching, friends. Stay awake, because woke simply isn't working. Stay safe. Cheers.